Hey everybody, this is Danny, and we'll be doing some ethical hacking and cybersecurity research via Hack the Box. Today we'll be looking at Bashed. It's a retired box. First, we'll start off with some nmap enumeration. As part, we'll identify that port 80 is open. Then we'll identify a service that leads to a reverse shell. And last, we'll exploit a sudo al and cron job to get root. This is going to be the attack chain, so first we'll have the bash access, get the reverse shell, exploit the sudo cron job, and get root. That said, let's go and get started.
All right, so as always, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and type in ifconfig. You're going to take your IP address for your ton 0, and let me go ahead and clear this. So ifconfig ton 0, take that IP address, put it up here. So you go rename session, or actually you open a new tab, and then you could rename that tab. So I like to rename it, change the color to blue for my local host, and then for the remote host, which should be the same for all of us, we'll go and change that to red. This is just for later down the line when I'm trying to make my reverse shell and such. All right, cool. So next thing we need to do is run an nmap scan, and let me go ahead and move my notes out of the way. But we'll run this scan here. I've already run it, so you know, should be good there. But you can see it's running. It's identified that, there's this really high, or actually, it's identified port 80 is open. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, see what we got going on there. And do HTTP 1010. Yep, there it is. All right, actually, I will take this, put this over here, because that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. So we'll see that we have this website. It's got a PHP bash. Pretty cool. Um, PHP bash. All right, so let's go ahead and look into fuzzing that directory, right? As we would usually do in our approach. So we'll rename this one nmap. So it's our nmap scan. We'll open up another one because I like to stay organized, and we'll run Foxbuster. And what this is going to do, it's going to enumerate the site for directories, but it goes a step ahead of that. It actually enumerates those subdirectories as well. So run it. It's not installed by default, so you have to install it. But once we do that, we'll let it run. You'll identify that there's a website here that's running, and it's called dev php bash. And so if you go to that directory that's listed, uh, once this is finished running, you'll see it listed. Um, you'll see that this is actually a bash shell. So this is great, right? We can ls it, and you can see it's returning. It's as if we have a reverse shell almost. Now we want to get a reverse shell because this is limiting our abilities to do what we need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this script here, and what this is going to do, and I'll just put this on a notepad and let you see it. But this is going to create our reverse shell that we need. We just need to edit it so that that is your local host, which, as we mentioned earlier, you need to do an ifconfig ton 0 to determine. All right, and we're running on 1235 for the reverse shell, so let's go ahead and open up a netcat listener for that. So we'll put this one as dir, open up another one. We'll name this one nc, and then I usually put the port number so I know which port that one's running on. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, cool. All right, so we're listening. We're coming here. We're taking our script, copying it, and then we're pasting it into this. And I'll kind of I'll zoom in so you can see it. That's the script. So if you want to type that out, you can type it out right there. Copy it. Okay. and then go ahead and paste it here, and then we'll run it. And then we see that we got a reverse shell. All right, cool. So we got our reverse shell. We no longer need this. Delete that. Next, we're going to go ahead and spawn a more stable shell. So we'll do Python C import pty despawn bash. I'll go ahead and pause for a second, let you look at that. All right, copy, paste it. Let's move this out of the way. Post that in there. Boom, we got a more stable shell. All right, cool. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and um, take a look at this scripts directory. There's a scripts directory. It's typically not included as by default. So if we just go back to that directory. And at this point, I believe you can go back and go to the home directory. So you go into the home directory, and you can see that there's a user there. And the script manager is also a user. But if you go into this user's directory, then you should be able to cat the users.txt file. So you go ahead and do that right now. And then once you do that, go ahead and cd back to the main directory, in which you'll notice there's a scripts directory there. So if we cd into the scripts directory, see we get permission denied. So if I do sudo -l, we'll see that we can run we can run script manager without as sudo without any password. All right, great. So now that we know that, what we need to do is switch to the script manager user. So let's see if we can do that. Hmm. Testing for a password. See if it lets us go in without a password. Authentication failed. Okay. So let me pull this up here. Sudo -u script manager bash-i. Now we're the script manager. Okay, now let's take a look at that scripts file. So cd scripts ls or scripts directory. We can see that they've got a test.py. So cat test.py. You can see this is what it does. It's a script that runs, obviously. It's going to connect to it looks like it's doing a connection out to this IP address on 5555. All right, cool. So now that we know that that runs and we can see other scripts in there, now we can ID that, you know what, this is probably some type of cron job that's running, right? Because it's got a script in there. All right. And if we take a look at the permissions of this, so ls-l scripts, you can see that, of course, this is a directory, so ls, and we've got all these scripts here that are managed by the script manager, owned by them. We have some root one here. We got root test.txt. So I could cut that one out, see what's going on there. And it's cat test.txt. Okay. All right, with that said, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put in a malicious script here that will run. To do that, we'll go ahead and start up a netcat listener for our privilege escalation session. So in C, and we're going to be listening on 31337. All right, it's another port. And I'm gonna copy that, come over here, boom, come over here. And now we're going back to our session here. And what we're gonna do is we are going to insert a malicious script that will get that reverse shell that we need. Let me just adjust this and I'll post the command up for you can see shortly. Give me a sec. All right, so this is the command here. This is going to echo this into a file called exploit.py, and this is going to be for our reverse shell that's going to connect to our Kali host on port 31337. All right, so go ahead and take this, copy it, come over here, drop it in here, run it, and then we should get that reverse shell after a minute. All right, so we got it, cool. Next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and make this a more stable shell. And then you can see we're root. So we'll get ls and then go back one, go cd root ls cat root.txt. I won't do that here because that's against their policy, but there it is. I was able to walk you through it all. I hope you enjoy this video. If you want, I can even put the commands in the description or comment section, most likely comment section because the description limits what I can put in there. But yeah, sure, I'll drop them in there for you. All right, feel free to like and subscribe. More videos coming your way. Trying to get through all the easy ones for our Hack the Box and moving on to medium and hard as I go through their academy training as well. All right, happy hacking. Danny out.